Unfortunately, I had the flu so bad last week that making videos was out of the question. So here is the overview for both week 5 and week 6. Last week I was a bit worried about the bicotyle in St. Pancras. It hadn't been reported for several days. However, as this week began, sightings of the bird resumed. But this wasn't the only bird of interest. And I'm not referring to the previously found but no longer reported bird at the German border, but rather a bird in an area I used to visit frequently as a beginner birder. Back then, nothing interesting ever showed up there, but since I stopped going, both a river warbler and now a bicotyle have appeared. This bird, however, is quite tricky. It has flown out of the peat pond several times and is nearly impossible to find afterwards. Word has it that the bird has been present since New Year's. Based on the flank and head markings, it is likely a second calendar year bird. It is remarkable how much more frequent this species is being observed in the Netherlands in recent years without any signs of captivity. After its discovery on January 27th, the bird was seen again on February 1st, which remains the most recent sighting. At one point, it was seen resting among some rushes, right next to a blue-winged teal. This bird is also likely a second calendar year individual, unringed and in good feather condition, but it appears to have some damage to one of its legs. Could this indicate that it once had a ring in captivity, or that someone attempted to ring it with a closed ring? If this type of damage is indeed the result of a failed closed ring attempt, that would not only be a reason to disqualify this bird as wild, but with a bicotyle of the same birth year in the same location, suspicion naturally falls on that bird as well. Interestingly, the bicotyle in Almelo from 2010 reportedly had similar damage to one of its legs. We'll see what the cDNA's investigation concludes. That being said, don't assume that I consider all rare ducks to be escaped. On the contrary, there are plenty of proven fakery cases, such as ducks ringed in America that were later found in Europe. However, not all unringed birds can automatically be assumed wild either. I personally prefer to follow a clear standard, at least for myself. If a bird is unringed and not pinioned or clipped, it's worth visiting. If this blue-winged teal is still around next week, we'll discuss identification then. Now, let's move on to our reliable lesser scorp. The bird at the Vogelmeer is not disappointing twitchers and continues to show up every day. Sometimes it stays closer to the shore than other times, but in general, if you go, you'll see it, which is not something I often say. How many times have I chased a can't-miss bird only for it to remain unseen? One of the country's top self finders confirmed that the bird at the Haringvliet is still present. On February 9th, 2 more lesser scorps were reported, one at Wolderwijd, where a bird had been seen before, and another along the Frisian IJsselmeer coast. That makes at least 3, but very likely 4 lesser scorps in the Netherlands. The other American diving duck in the dunes was seen at the Kennemermeer on January 27th and February 1st. On February 5th and 10th it was spotted at the Dune Lake. Meanwhile, the bird in Heerhugowaard was not reported at all during week 5. Only in week 6 were there a handful of reports of this American counterpart to our tufted duck. And if you thought I forgot about the most important duck of all, fear not, because the spectacled Eider certainly deserves a mention, saving the best for last. This duck, rightfully a crowd pleaser, suddenly created some suspense. On Tuesday afternoon, January 28th, at around 1:15 p.m, the bird dove underwater not too far from shore, and was never seen surfacing again. For several hours, people feared for its life. Could it have gotten trapped in a fishing net and drowned? No one knew for sure. That afternoon, it was searched for extensively, but without success. Fortunately, the next day brought relief when the bird was spotted again. It even made it into February, making Texel the ultimate hotspot for dedicated month listers. How many months will they be able to add this bird to the lists? I wouldn't be surprised if it sticks around for the Texel Big Day. However, we have now had the first days where the bird was not reported at all. On Friday, February 8th and Sunday, February 10th. A strong easterly wind is currently blowing, which, at the bird's usual spot, means an onshore wind. Perhaps that has something to do with it. Winter is, of course, the season to search for rare waterfowl in the Netherlands, so we're not done with web feed just yet this week. On the last day of the week, the first potentially countable cackling goose in 11 years was found in the Netherlands. The bird was discovered late in the day and disappeared quickly. Only a few birders managed to see it before dark. It was spotted in the province of Groningen, making it feel like a bit of a purple patch, alongside the bicol-teal and blue-winged teal. The bird was among tundra bean geese in exactly the same spot where last year's much-twitched taiga bean goose was. However, it doesn't seem to be sticking around for long, as it was only seen for 2 days, despite further searches in the days that followed. While searching, the first serious taiga bean goose of the year was also found. It doesn't appear to be the same individual as last year. Every year, at least one, and possibly several taiga bean geese seem to turn up in Groningen around this time, something that might give yearlisters some hope. The Pacific diver was also still present. This bird has quickly faded into the background due to the spectacled eider and all the other exciting twitchable birds this winter. It has almost become normal for it to be there. What doesn't help is that it is often missing or seen at a great distance. If stunning photos of it surface daily, it might be a different story. At least the dedicated month listers have been able to add it to the list for another month. I'm very curious to see how long it will stay. Some great northern divers, for example, remain in the Netherlands well into April. Could May be also possible? I doubt it, but we'll see. Something else exciting happened with divers this period. I personally found a great northern diver on the Paterswoldse Meer. This bird has proven very popular and has already been logged over 210 times. Despite having found rarer species before, this one seems to be my most twitched bird so far. That's probably helped by the fact that great northern divers have been quite scarce in the Netherlands this winter, much rarer than in previous years. The pygmy cormorant remains a popular target, with an average of 10 sightings per day. 8 days after the last sighting of the Iceland gull in Leiden, a local birder briefly saw it again at the petting zoo on the 31st. The next and so far last sighting there was on the 6th of February. That same day, another immature bird was found in Zeeuws-Vlaanderen, which was also seen the next day, but hasn't been reported since. The glaucous gull, on the other hand, is still loyal to the harbour of IJmuiden, where it frequently enjoys the tossed sandwiches of twitching birders, allowing for great ground-level views. A quick update on our Ameland hoopoe. It is still there. 2 hooded crows were reported this period, but the Drenthe bird was briefly swapped out for the well-known Schiemen en Koogbird, which was seen on the North Sea beach. Last year, this bird even built a nest with a carrion crow in the village, though no hybrid young resulted. We'll keep an eye on what it does this year. There's also good news about the Siberian lesser whitethroat in Didam. In week 5, the bird was captured and ringed, meaning that DNA analysis may eventually confirm whether it belongs to this taxon. I've now visited the bird myself, and you'll see how I filmed it in an upcoming vlog. Interestingly, it wasn't the only Siberian lesser whitethroat that week. There was also a report from Apeldoorn. The bird had apparently been spotted occasionally in the observer's garden throughout the winter. Without DNA, we can't be sure if it's truly Siberian, but statistically, that's the most likely option in winter. The other warbler with Siberian in its name is the chiffchaff. The sized bird was seen again, and new ones were found at Twisk and Hanover, plus even 2 together in Limburg. The corn buntings in Buinen remain the most popular at the moment, but others have also been found in the country, such as in Biervliet and Lutjewolde. There are surely more out there, so if you're participating in the Patchwork Challenge, it's worth keeping the species on your radar. In response to my vlog about the corn buntings, a German birder mentioned that the species is increasing over there. It would be great if they started breeding in the Netherlands more frequently in the future again. Thank you all for watching, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.